streets in Accra, also live on our numerous affiliates across the country, around the world. We're streaming live on 3news.com. Download the tuning app from the Google Play, Apple, iOS store. Listen to us on the go. Coming up this afternoon, more agony in the southern parts of the Volta region and the eastern region as spillage of the Akosombo and Kon dams wreak havoc on thousands, with homes submerged and residents wading through high waters for dry land. This afternoon, we're live there where Gridco has cut power supply to save more lives. Also this afternoon, Office of Special Prosecutor petitions Chief Justice asking that a new judge be tasked to handle the Cecilia Dapa case. We have details as lawyers for the former minister say the OSP is simply frustrating the case. A lot later, the High Court sets December 4 as judgment day for Aisha Juan versus the state in the Galamsey trial, which has spanned nearly 4 years. A pleasure that you could be a part of this afternoon's bulletin. It's streaming live on Facebook. Our handles 3FM927. Same handles on Twitter as well, 3FM927. I am Eric Mawuena Egbeta, and we begin where there's no end in sight for residents in parts of southern Volta and the eastern regions as the authorities at the Volta River Authority continue to spill excess water from the Akosombo and Kon dams. Like you should be seeing if you're following us on Facebook right now, the high volumes of water have inundated communities from Notong down to Gakope and parts of the eastern region, wreaking havoc in more than 5 districts and leaving a trail of destruction. Areas like Fanchiakwa all the way to Mefe have been severely affected as concerns for food and potable water begin to rear its head. Gridco, meanwhile, has cut power supply to the communities as a life-saving measure amidst the high waters. Joseph Armstrong Godalogbe is in Mefe and is joining us with a bit more details. It's one of the areas which has been badly hit, and it's in the Notong area. Armstrong, a mass evacuation has been on all throughout yesterday. Do we know if residents are out of harm's way now?
No, not at all. As I see right now, we are currently at a school in Mepe where the floodwaters have taken over the entire school. So far, I've seen about some 4 schools already that have been submerged by the rainwaters, and it seems more water seems to be still towards this direction, and the main Sugankofe Mefe road has been covered by the flood water. So if you are a driver commuting from Mefe to Sugankofe, you cannot use the Mefe Sugankofe Aflao road. You need to go back and use the Sege area. And that is currently what the residents here are faced with. They are currently calling for GRA to compensate them greatly because many of them say they've lost so much properties that they don't know how long it's going to take them to acquire these properties for themselves again.
And we've seen livestock being moved as well. What are the concerns of these residents with access to food? We know that NADMO has tried to take names for some of these things to be done as well.
So the livestock, we've seen many of them being killed in the floodwaters. Just few of them have been able to be rescued, and for residents, even common water to drink is a big challenge for them, as all the waters that they've stored over the months or weeks have all been submerged and been contaminated by the flood waters. I've not seen NADMO on site yet. Yes, the only government officials I've seen around is the Ghana National Fire Service that came to assess the road situation leading from Efe to Gakope. As it stands right now, I'm yet to see the MC, the Navy, and any other authorities that play a role when it comes to rescuing residents who have been trapped in the floodwaters. Currently, I'm told some people have been trapped in their various homes as they are unable to come out from their houses. They've managed to put their properties together and they climb top and they're sitting at the top. And now how to get out from their rooms is another challenge, which is why they are calling on the NADMO and then also the Navy to come in to help them come out from their various homes.
Armstrong, I'll ask you to hold the line for us. I know that some of the residents spoke to you and they expressed concern about no authority there. Thankfully, we've been joined on the telephone line by the Deputy Director for NADMO National, Seji Saji. Sir, many thanks for joining us this afternoon and for holding the line for us as well. The indication we get is that you've been on the grounds all throughout yesterday when the Havoc began to set in. What's been the assessment so far?
Thank you, Mawuena, and good afternoon to your listeners. Just as your reporter is saying, the situation is unfolding. It started becoming serious from day before yesterday. That is the night into yesterday. And that is when the rate at which VRA was spilling increased. The whole spillage process started about 2 weeks ago, but they were doing it at a controlled measure. They had a controlled measure. This was their phase one of their emergency preparedness plan. They still at a certain rate. That particular one was not even noticed, even though they had gone around to do community sensitization. But the inflows into the reservoir increased dramatically as a result of the rainfall patterns up north. And that has worsened the situation. They needed to increase the rate to a very high level. And that has created all this challenge. Almost all the 9 districts along the downstream of the Volta River Dam has been affected. Mefe, where your reporter is one of the most seriously hit. We were there throughout yesterday into the night. What we have successfully done is to move quite a number of people to the secondary school where we predetermined as a safe haven, which is at St. Kizito School. It is at a higher elevation at the other side of the Mefe town on the roof. So we have moved quite a lot of people. The count as of this morning, though people are still being moved there, is close to almost 450 people that have been registered by our staff. Yes, most people downstream at Mefe have moved all their belongings out of their homes. Those who live in story buildings have been able to move their things up the story building. We are hoping that in the next few days, the rate of flow will be reduced so that the water can start receding. But as we speak now, it is getting quite serious. We have managed to provide some relief items initially to some of the safe havens. In fact, in Northstone, we have 4 places that we are holding people. We have people at Agotipo. We have people at Mefe. That is the St. Kizito I mentioned first. We have people at Darfur, at Didoma. And we have people at Ome.
Right.
All these people are being served with some food and non-food items and water because their sources of drinking water have also been contaminated.
Right. You've just been telling us you're hoping that all of this could calm down a bit, the water will begin to recede. We're getting reactions with persons asking if hope is the plan of NADMO going forward, because already this morning we've received text messages from different parts with persons being trapped at this point as we speak as well. And so if they're hearing NADMO hope, then a lot of these people perhaps will be left frustrated and throwing their hands up in despair.
Yes, you are right about that, especially those who are living directly along the river banks and those who are on islands. For those people, almost everybody has moved out of their homes, and quite a number of them are at the safe havens, and some are with their relatives as we speak.
But just a bit more on this, there are those who are calling into question the preparation of NADMO, because you mentioned that this was a controlled spillage. And the expectation has always been, since you've been in communication with VRA, that the spillage was going to get to these levels. How come we're seeing this level of devastation with this many people affected, for you having to evacuate them, and now you're saying you're hoping things can get better?
Thank you very much. Well, normally a disaster is something that is unexpected, and it is something that is also beyond the management of one person. And that is why it calls into action a collaboration between a lot of people. And that is what our organization does. Quite early in the year, we even had a simulation exercise of the emergency preparedness plan of the VRA. And we did this along the downstream of the Volta Dam. That's all the 9 districts. So there has been some form of preparation. That is how come we have predetermined places that in the event that there is a spillage to the level where it will cause inundation and affect people, we can move people there. The challenge, as I mentioned earlier, was that the rate of spill increased drastically as a result of the heavy downfall in the northern part of the country, and almost all the channels that feed into the reservoir are full. This sometimes cannot be fully estimated or anticipated, because the last time I hear something like this happen is about 15, 16 years ago. VRA, with their technical team and their engineers, had estimated the rate of flow and all that. And that is why they sent out information for us to sensitize the communities before this happened. But it is just that the increase in the rate at this level was so sudden. So that is why we are having what we have now. But at the moment, our preoccupation is to make sure that we are able to contain the situation.
Right.
Then we can be dealing with all the other issues that will come up after we have properly been able to protect life first of all. As for properties, a lot has been lost already. We can't be talking about that at the moment. But how we can make sure we don't lose a single soul, that is all our preoccupation now.
Right, Mr. Saji, I think we'll leave it here. We'll come back to you for a lot more updates, because it doesn't look like this will be abating anytime. But that's Seji Saji, is a Deputy Director of NATMO for the nation, speaking to us this afternoon, providing a bit more updates. Armstrong is still on the telephone lines with us. I'm sure you, this time round, might be communicating NATMO's position. What's the expectation of residents now going forward, as you've already raised a concern of a difficulty in getting clean water?
So they are saying that though NADMO has been here, all the NADMO do is to write names of affected victims, but they are yet to see any relief item given to any affected victim. And that's their position now, and they are also calling on the VRA to at least come and compensate them going forward. But for them, they are yet to see any relief item coming from the NADMO. I spoke with some government officials who said that they are now doing sorting out of relief items at the district assembly, and later on in the day, they will go around and give those relief items. But Mawuena, let me quickly add that schools in the North district here have all been closed down temporarily, as the residents are occupying these schools as their safe havens as it stands right now. So you will not see any school currently functioning, or every single school here you see currently is not in operation, Mawuena.
Right, then that's my colleague Joseph Armstrong Goldalogbe from the Mefe area providing details there for us. And we're switching lanes now, because the Office of the Special Prosecutor is asking the Chief Justice to task a new judge to handle the Cecilia Dapa case. The case is currently being handled by Justice Edward Chum, who previously ordered the OSP to release cash seized from the residence of the former minister. The OSP believes it will be in the interest of justice for a new judge to be assigned. My colleague Joseph Akablis joined us with a bit more. Joseph, many thanks. What more do we know about this petition to the Chief Justice?
So the specific petition was not read in court, but the judge did inform all present that he has been made aware of the fact that the Office of Special Prosecutor has written asking that he recuses himself, and they've asked the Chief Justice to allow a new judge to handle this particular case. Shortly after, the Office of Special Prosecutor actually put out a statement on its social media handle in which we got some additional details And that statement makes the point that, as far as they are concerned, they believe that the judge, Justice Edward Chum, is prejudiced in terms of against the Office of Special Prosecutor and the person of the Special Prosecutor. And so they do not want him to participate in any cases related to the Special Prosecutor. So not just this particular one that has to do with the confirmation order, but also the criminal aspect is also pending as well.
Did it affect the hearing today? Because we know an order was granted yesterday for expedited hearing on 2 matters.
I mean, it simply meant that the judge said he's not going to continue with the case. The reason being that if the request has been sent to the head of the judicial administration, the Chief Justice, asking that the judge recuses himself, the judge said that it would be inappropriate for him to continue hearing this particular matter at this point in time. So he's put the matter on hold until a response comes from the Chief Justice on whether Justice Edward Chum should remain the judge on this case or not.
We understand the former minister is unhappy about this development as well.
Her lawyers, led by Victoria Bass, expressed that concern strongly. In fact, they took on the Office of Special Prosecutor, questioning the ethical standards there, making the point that they expected the Special Prosecutor to be present in court to at least explain why they've taken this decision to the judge. They did not show up. They actually had a representative who is not a lawyer come in and show up in court. And so they make the point that that's inappropriate. They again make the point that as far as they are concerned, they believe that this is simply a ploy to frustrate the former minister, and that the Office of Special Prosecutor is demonstrating bad faith, and made a point that he said, and I quote, he said, the OSP says he is the conscience of the nation. He must be above such conduct.
And so what this means is that Madame Stapa's assets will continue to be frozen until when the determination can be made on this petition for whether or not it will be a new judge.
Exactly, Eric. And so what happens is that we come back on the 18th, and on that 18th, the expectation is that maybe the petitioner was sent to the Chief Justice, the response would have come from the Chief Justice, and that response will indicate whether the judge should continue or a new judge should come in. In the event, it goes either way, that maybe the judge should continue, then it means that the judge cannot hear the argument on whether or not there should be the seizure and this order should be confirmed. On the other hand, if the judge takes the view that, or the Chief Justice takes the view that a different judge should come in, then it means that the case will now have to be transferred to a different judge to handle that matter. And so it means that the embarrassment and hardship that she made a point she was suffering, she may have to hold on a bit more because this matter will still take some time.
That's Joseph Akable. Joseph, many thanks for providing those details. He's been in court for us on this particular matter. Has a lot of angles to it, a new development every day. Yesterday, we got to know of a partnership between the OSP and the FBI in expanding the threshold of investigations involving Cecilia Dapa, and a new word was introduced, associates. What was staying in the court for you, because after calling 11 witnesses in the case involving infamous Chinese national Aisha Huang, the High Court has set December 4th to determine the fate of the woman standing trial for her involvement in illegal mining offences. My colleague Lord Idwasare, he's in court as well, has joined us with a bit more details. Lord, what more can you tell us?
Right, so Mawuena, Aisha Huang's case has been spanning from November 2022. I mean, that's after the Attorney General reopened the case after she was deported upon re-entry into the country in 2018. Now, the judge asked the lawyers for Aisha Huang as well as the prosecution to file their written addresses before September 20 and then October 11. And so upon doing that, they came to court to come and agree the date for the final judgment on Aisha Huang, which has been set to December 4. You know that Aisha Huang has been charged with engaging in illegal mining as well as engaging persons in the illegal mining as well. She has pleaded not guilty to both, but pleaded guilty to the charge that she re-entered the country after she was deported. Now, the prosecution has been making the case that, this case has gotten pretty interesting with a lot of twists and turns. Now, the prosecution during the cross-examination noted that at some point, Aisha Huang feigned marriage to one Anthony Fabian and then married two other Ghanaian men. Now, Aisha maintained that the Anthony Fabian that the prosecution stated was a non-existent person actually exists, and that he was married to this person in 2009, but then their marriage ended after 5 years. And then there were two other persons that she was married to. But the third person who was mentioned by the prosecution, the person of Daniel Odrie-Champon. She says she does not recollect any person like that. And so on December 4, when we come, we'll know what the fate of Aisha Huang is going to be, Mawuena.
Right then, Lord, many thanks for those details. We're taking you now into a TV3 studios here, where the Executive Theatre, where the ongoing public sector corruption, publication of assets, national dialogue is currently ongoing. We'll connect to the studio where Mariada, where the Ghana Integrity Initiative is making a strong point in relation to what executive legislature must do right in order to enable the country have an asset declaration regime that helps in the fight against grafts. Let's take you there now.
Parliament for Doma East is seated next to you, for Chumberima. Have you declared your assets?
I've declared my assets.
Unfortunately, I can't verify it personally, but I assume that you have. Would you support the call for the publication of the assets you have declared?
Let me stand on the existing protocols and also thank the organizers of this program. Unfortunately, I came in late, so I couldn't get the better part of it. But obviously, between me and you and Alfred, we've discussed this extensively. And obviously, Martin Pebu knows that we've initiated something already. It is something that I'm devoted for. And I have called that we should find a way that it must be publicized. And indeed, if we want to do that, I have actually moved at it, then let's computerize it so that we'll be able to access it everywhere you are. Sometimes, and you were talking about the laborious filling of the form is also a problem. And when I came to your program, I came on your program, I showed you how the form looks like. And obviously, if you look at what the kind of people the law expect them to declare their asset, some of these forms, they can't go through it. So we need to look at the forms. But in terms of publicizing, it's important we need to do it. If you tell us it's A, we need it is A, and when you came it was B, how you got your B, we should be able to measure it based on what was there. And I think my brother Dafia Mokpo supports it. So the legislature is not against being publicized or anything.
A few of you.
No, I think it's probably while you might think a few. This program is important, it's exciting because it's going to draw attention. So those who may have not thought about it will not, okay, this issue is going on. But I know a lot of people are interested in this. There are a lot of members of parliament who really want to associate themselves with this one. They would like us to go further. Because obviously, yes, as they say, one bad nut will destroy everybody. They will say, one MP is that, and you are doing a good job, they will label you as a wrong one. But if we're able to push for the right thing to be done, we'll get everybody cleared. And I don't think this is I don't think it's so difficult thing for you to do that. I want to come to parliament. Before coming in, I have 2 pure water. And I have 1 microphone. When I was going out, I got 3 microphones. How you got your we can measure your salary and everything. Oh, no, it's possible we can get your 3 microphones. What is so difficult about this? So I think we need to push it. And you see, picketing may not be. Sometimes picketing, we'll picket and they will go and run. Let's push for it through the appropriate means. One of the means is doing this. The other means going through the law. Of course, Lawyer Martin people knows how we can do this. And we are pushing for it. We have to do this. So for me, I think it's a good call. Members of parliament will support this. No one, if you want to serve, you must be ready to serve. If you want, you must be ready, because if you want us to know that you are really coming in for the right thing, let us know what you are bringing on board. You don't come and tell us that you want to come and serve us and loot us. We will not, nobody will want to do that. So I think it is important that this call must be nationalized, and it's not about politics. I mean, and one of the issues, the MPP, NDC is our problem. MPP will now, MPP is in government. They will then do shakara, and then we go. And then when NDC comes in, Paul is my friend. So if Paul is my friend, let me cover what Paul has done. We should move away from politics and hold on to the issues that will serve us as a country. Asset declaration is one of the means to fight corruption. Why has it taken us? And you see, even we are going against the law. If you know that last time when we started on the program, we saw a lot of lists of people who were supposed to have declared. Have they declared? Have the officers of the security that we know, have they declared? The DVLA set certain position, have they declared? So even they've gone against the laws that we say we are using to bind our country. And that one is grievous. It's time to talk about what we know. So I think it's something that let's move away from politics. Let's focus on the issue. And the issue is that we must declare our asset if you want to serve in a public service. The law is clear. No one is exempted from it. I think the president is happy to do it. And I'm happy that the Attorney General, who represents the executive, has committed to it. That if we have to push it, we must push it. So the executive will not stay away from it. The executive will support it. So I will call on everyone, and I'll go and see her on the side that we will not pick it, but we will use the right means to get the right things done. Thank you.
But the concern is that even though you express the commitment of the executive, you are a member of parliament. So maybe you can speak in your capacity as an MP and say, oh, a number of your MPs that you have spoken to have expressed commitment to have this as a declaration, the publication of it also put in the law. But then, even in its current form, there are people who have violated the law, haven't declared their assets, and there's no punishment for them by the executive, by leadership. So then how then are we going to be convinced that indeed the executive will be committed to the publication of the assets so that we all see?
Because again, people's attention has not been drawn onto it. That's what I'm trying to say, that this program is important. So therefore, my uncle who is in Doma East, in Kobede Supra, now knows that Paul Chumberima must come and tell us what he had before becoming a member of parliament. The education, that's what last time I said, NCC must come in. So therefore, before you pick up form, we should know, even it should start from that level.
92.
We should be able to know from the internal elections. At your primary, we should know, Paul, you have one black shoe, you have two brown. So when you are coming, you can judge it. That when you are now using a Lexus, when you are using a Toyota Corona, we should be able to measure from the ground. So the education is important. That's what I'm saying. We need to call everyone to be on board on this. We should not limit it to a certain group of people. It shouldn't be civil society. It shouldn't be executive. Every Ghanaian, trust me, at this point in time, every Ghanaian will be interested in this. At this point in time, every Ghanaian, every youth want to know what Fortune Burma is doing. Obviously, let me give an example how we can pass this. When the gay issue came, or when this LGBTI issue came, everybody was on board. Why? Because it was weaved around you. So when this becomes something that you must show us before we can give you the nod, they will fall in line. So we must weave it around you that it must start from the basis, from the scratch. And Honorable Martin was saying something, and which was good, that we don't need the Auditor General to supervise it or something, because they don't have the capacity. We need a specialized institution drawn from different people to form, to be able to oversee this. And we don't need you to finish your 4 years or your term of office before we can know. Mm-hmm. Because it's also a problem. But the person has been there, so if I'm a member of parliament, you've not heard anything. 4 years, I've gone through. They've not opened my asset. I came back for another 4 years. They've not opened my asset. And I keep piling up, and nobody knows what's in it. We must be able to audit it even in the course of your service.
So you are for the yearly review?
Yes. We must be able to just, even at one point, you should be called.